Hello, hi, and welcome back, I guess. So, I still have like half a glass left after this glass. And I had so much fun yesterday being bound to the chair after I clicked go live that I decided to do it intentionally today. However, I did not grab the decks that I wanted to use before I did that. So, I have to slide over to the side, slide to grab them. I think I'm just going to use the Revelations. I'm feeling it. The SKT Revelations, SKT3. We're going to do the. Oof. There you go. We're going to do the Sun transiting Sagittarius into Capricorn today. I was thinking about how interesting, it is that Earth is the last cardinal sign, element, modality, the first element and modality to appear in the wheel, right? Or like cardinal water, because everything arises from the water and then came the earth, right? But that's not the case. And then I thought, well, Genesis 1:1 question mark, and God said, "Let there be light," and Aries, cardinal fire, would be the first thing that came into being. So, anyway, we're just gonna see what's up real quick before folks wake up, I guess, and awaken the brilliance. I like this because we had yesterday in the Mystical Manga Tarot, we had those higher beings over for what Ace of Swords, the crowning. It's interesting that the sacred word comes out because fire, page of fire, which is not, which is as cardinal fire as it gets, I guess. Which is interesting because I was just talking about how, in the beginning, God said, "Let there be light," and then there was light. Like there was a sacred word that brought light into being. Interesting. And there is no land here yet. It's just clouds. It's the air and clouds. All of a sudden, there was light. I've seen a few shows. I feel like there are a lot of books, novels, or every time I've encountered the true names of things or words of creation, it involves magic. Creators, I guess, that bring things into being. So it would make sense why it's like magic, right? So we're going to set these here for a second. And we're going to keep going. We'll see if they come into focus. We'll see if they come into the picture. So 3 cards for where Sagittarius season is leaving us. 1 card for, how we're entering Capricorn season, and then 3 cards for Capricorn season overall. I don't really remember what Moon in Sagittarius, love it. I don't really remember what Sagittarius was, Sagittarius season. This is interesting. Oh, wow, that happens like every time. The last card is 2 cards. Either it's 2 cards or 3 cards. So the first card revealed itself as Moon in Sagittarius. Oh, well, it's the Moon. Maybe that's why. The Pugilist, 9 of Wands, Moon in Sagittarius. Who kind of sort of did the same. I feel like Sagittarius season left us ready for whatever may come. You can see the moon of the necromancer in the back. There are also crossroads behind this, behind the pugilist. She's low-key giving me a Hecate energy. Because of the moon in the back, because of the crossroads, I guess because of the wolf that's right here. Also, Mesopotamia. I didn't even finish that series. I think I did what? The first king. Ooh, I wanted one card. We got 3 cards. Capricorn season is bringing 8 of Wands, 10 of Pentacles, 8 of Cups. The Sharpshooter, the Dynasty, and the Defector. I don't think I've ever gotten 3 cards as the where it's bringing us. But it's like, yeah, we're quickly approaching. This is Mercury and Sagittarius, Mercury in Virgo, and Saturn and Pisces. We've had Moon and Sagittarius. It's all mutable energy, which I guess isn't surprising because Capricorn season sees us through the end of one calendar year into the beginning of the next. But it's like we're quickly approaching a lot of what we want. But it's almost like yesterday, I think it was the 8 of Air that came out with the message of like, in order to receive one thing, another must be left behind. Right? Like, it could be something as simple as like, if you were to eat food, you would leave your hunger behind. Like, you trade your hunger for satisfaction, hopefully, at the very least. Right? But this sharpshooter is also a card of acting in alignment. Kirsty, hey, how you doing? How art thou, Kirsty? I'm drinking water and wine today. I'm also hydrating. This is a card of acting in alignment with the divine. Because who is this? Athena with her shield of Medusa. I've never noticed the wreath, the laurel crown on her head before. But it's a card of act because these, like the wands, come from Athena, but the arrow comes from our archer. Which is also interesting because I feel like I've been reading the cards as major, minor, pre lately too. So like, I don't know if this is minor energy aligning to major, or if it could be minor energy aligning to major energy to make it pre energy. Right. It's like how we can encompass and embody sometimes major concepts to be a representation of that on earth, although we're not the full whatever, right? Which is hierophantic a little bit. To be like Christ on earth, but like us being like Christ doesn't make us like Jesus, right? So, hey Sandra, thou ist wellest. Kita, how you been? I was just thinking about you the other day. I hope your semester went well. I know you were worried about school, and I'm pretty sure it should be over. There's also this there's this day into night. Oh, that makes sense. Well, I hope you enjoy it. Excuse me, glad to hear it. I have a few days. I'm glad. So it's like you see the sun up here, and this is daytime, and the moon down here. This is night, and then there's the moon, and then here was the moon, like way in the back. This could also be. It's almost like something that leads to other things. And it's almost like the dark of the dynasty, but it's only dark because you might not have necessarily known that it was coming. Like let's say that you have been moving towards wealth, abundance in general, but wealth more specifically. For maybe you had a reason. Maybe there's like a house that you wanted to buy for yourself or a loved one or something like that. But then it's like when you come into the wealth, maybe you like start a charity. Or maybe you find a charity, you find a cause that you really care about, and then like there's something that, or like maybe you invest in something. There's something that takes it a lot farther in some way than you thought. And it's interesting that we're in Capricorns. Like, it's interesting that this came out for Capricorn season because Capricorn is the mergoat. And so it's like there's the mermaid, there's the person. Because this is like the first thing for Capricorn, we know that they're actually the same person. We know that it's not one person leaving somebody else behind. But there's something about like bringing this out of the water and onto the land. Out of the water and onto the land gives it a Darwinian energy of like evolution. But just in a way of like, maybe there was a way that things were evolving within the self, within the mind, within our heart, within our dreams. But now it's like it's time to bring it into reality. And maybe there could be some initial disappointments or frustrations because, but it feels like natural. Like anytime something is brought about in real life, there could be challenges or difficulties that may delay things. There could be almost like limitations in terms of like you have the image in your mind, but you may not necessarily know the tools or resources or have the skill to accurately like bring it about. Maybe to it's like when someone, it's almost like a postpartum type energy when it's like, you know, going from having something within yourself like protected and unable to be disturbed or interfered, criticized by others external to you, like to putting it out into the world, like it can be a little daunting because again, you're opening yourself up for criticism. Because the Five of Cups is down here with the mermaid internal, but with the Three of Cups being in the mountains, it's like ultimately it's an energy of something being received well. It does what it needs to do, and just like a baby, it'll grow. And it can grow and evolve and change in ways that you didn't necessarily expect. Some good, some bad, overall amazing because it's the Three of Cups, right? It feels like it's going to become more. Again, this is on the side of the moon. It feels like it has the potential to become more than you ever thought it would be or could be, or to evolve in a way beyond your capacity to even dream, right? Like maybe you knew it would be successful, but you didn't necessarily think you would become like a household name or something like that. You know what I mean? Like maybe you thought it was good enough to get you a key to the city, but now you have a whole chapter in the history book and you're like, whoa, type energy. Ooh, the wheel of life. Jupiter. This is the first card for Capricorn season overall. Yeah, definitely things happening. And because it's the wheel of life, it feels like it's important to remain malleable, right? Because life happens. We can't necessarily pause life or stop life and be like, this isn't exactly what I had in mind. Like, all right, cut from the top, roll it again. Maybe you can. I don't know. Maybe it depends also on the situation, right? But it's more like improv. It's more improv than scripted. So it's more yes and rather than but hold up. Next card for Capricorn season. These are like coming out today. Love it. Next card for Capricorn season is the Force. And then the last card is the Rogue. The Seven of Swords has been coming up all over the place. Bottom of the deck is the Tension, Jupiter and Capricorn, Two of Pentacles. So we have a Saturnian energy between Jupiter and the Moon. And I say Saturnian because we have Capricorn and Aquarius. So we got two majors, which are the only major arcana on the table thus far. The only ones to reveal themselves. The Wheel of Life and the Force. The Force is strength. There's North Node here. The Tamed Lion, the Sphinx, Destiny Turning. It's interesting that Sphinx came out because I was just talking about the Sphinx Emperor. And there was some really Sphinxish energy. I don't remember what it was. I can kind of remember, but it's fine. What's interesting also is that we have this sword on the Sphinx. There's a sword and a wand at the top of the wheel. See that one Sphinx is holding the wand and the other Sphinx is holding the sword. And it's interesting because we have that over here. Awaken the brilliance and sacred word. There's almost like a my word is my bond type energy. And because of the eminence here, it's almost like if there's a promise that you made with the divine, it's going to be honored. Or it's like it's time to collect. Or the first disbursement is like happening now type energy. Maybe not the first, the next disbursement of whatever was promised is being delivered in Capricorn season. And with the Seven of Swords, it might be out of the blue. Because it's like, this is about to happen. Like, this dude is about to cut her hair. But there's like somebody in the background that's like, stop. And I guess that's interesting because I was just like, there is no cut, hold the press, roll it from the top energy in real life. But like, There's the director that has the power to make that call. There's the person that can be like, stop, hold up. We go from Moon and Sagittarius in the very beginning to the last card being Moon and Aquarius. So there's this, and then we have like moons all over this. Like there's another moon with a shooting star. And maybe this is like and because it's the Seven of Swords, this could be like a dying light, right? Like, it's almost like when the moon was full in, this came out kind of recently. Was this Sagittarius season? Did this come out as the end of Scorpio season? I think it did. I think the end of Scorpio season, now I'm like recalling a little bit. Scorpio season left us in a position where we had been like convinced of something. And we were so knowing and so trusting that regardless of what we went through, it was pulling us through. It was giving us the patience to wait, the courage to be brave, and anything else we needed to keep moving forward. I don't remember what Sagittarius season was supposed to bring. I think Sagittarius was like the beginnings of whatever that was. And I feel like it was interesting because it was Moon in Sagittarius and then it was Moon in Gemini. It's like or was it Sun in Gemini? It's like where we thought things were going, there was an apparent opposite, but ultimately it was going to work its way all the way back around. And now it's interesting that like there's this first disbursement, the first payment, or the next. I don't want to say the first because maybe it's already happened, but there's the next disbursement because of the sacred word that has the power to interfere. It has the power to break the chains of causality and create miraculously. But yeah, there's dying light because it's like this was a full moon. This was like a dying light energy. If it resonates, take it. If it doesn't, don't. But it's like when the moon was full, almost like back here, when the moon was full and we were so sure that like we could hold the line, we could wait, we could do whatever. It was no big deal. I don't know if it was time. I don't know if it was life, but it's like something happened or didn't happen that maybe caused this moon to go darker and darker, right? To the point where like maybe we weren't as convinced anymore. And maybe where there used to be not discipline, but like a solidity, maybe where there used to be faith, it's now turned to desperation. And that's why it's like it's moved from the moon to the shooting star energy. Now, rather than having confidence in what we know internally and what we feel, we're like wishing on falling stars to make something happen. And the healer was actually behind, the healer, the star was behind this Page of Wands at the bottom of the deck. No, I'm like, I should have pulled it. We wished upon the star with the healer behind, and then awaken the brilliant. Stars are brilliant, right? Stars are the only things in our sky besides the sun that produce their own light. The planets reflect the sun's light. The moon reflects the sun's light. The satellites reflect the sun's light. But stars have a light of their own. And maybe that is what this is also sort of meaning and symbolizing. It's like instead of becoming a reflection of another light with this waning moon, it's coming into its own light, or it's discovering its own light. But anyway, with the sacred word, it's like message received, the thing is created. Rolls Royce, Rolls Royce. I'm getting Disney energy. When you wish upon a star. Type energy. I feel like the only thing I haven't really touched on is the strength card, the force. Oh, that was permutation one of the archangels. I was like, I've seen these snakes before recently. We saw the snakes behind the devil and the snakes wrapped around the tower. And in the tower, there's the axe of Shiva that removes corruption. Their corruption was the devil, but the snakes remained. And now we have the snakes here. But we can see the head of the snakes here. We couldn't see the head of the snakes before. And there's a north node right there above that snake. It feels like Heal the Ouch energy came out recently. Hold up. I think the devil has one of these on it. Now I gotta go looking for the devil, for the demon. It's right there. Oh, it's different. So is that the Six of Swords? Not is it the Quester? It might be the Quester in this deck, actually. I was gonna say not the Quester, but I think it is the Quester in this deck. Oh, we're taking it. The Magician also has those snakes on it, but I wasn't going to take it, but we are going to take it because of Universal Mercury. And the Magician came out yesterday. I must have brought, oh yeah, it's right here. It is the Quester. Yep, it's the Quester. Oh my gosh. I love it. I love it. I love it. Okay, come through. Come through. Thank you. So I'm looking at the symbol on the rump, this branded lion. This is it has like a Heal the Ouch energy. It feels like the lion has like a toothache or something. And this angel, this lady, this person is like trying to force the lion's mouth open so that like it kind of so that it can heal, address whatever needs to be healed, right? And this lion is like, maybe the lion is letting it happen. At first, it kind of felt like fighting it, but the lion is bracing itself. Like it's just like it's taking on the pain in order for that healing to happen, rather than it like fighting. Because it's not biting. It's just like it's, burying its claws in the sand. It's putting up with the pain. Oh, I was on the plane. Okay. I was like, brace yourself. Where does that like I remember seeing brace yourself recently, and I was like, ooh, this might be not significant, but it was just like, oh, that's interesting. It's because I was reading the safety pamphlet. And I was sitting in a seat that I've never sat in before. Well, maybe once on like a 2-hour flight to California, I think, on a different airline. But I was like at the front. And so I was just talking about how like we had to pull our screens up and I didn't get to finish watching the last 10 minutes of Blue Beetle. Everybody else got to keep watching on their screens that were on the back of somebody else's seat, but I had to put mine up because we were landing. Anyway, it's fine. The brace position is different because there's not a seat in front of you to like brace yourself against or whatever. So you had to like touch your ankles, like just like, fold over. Not like this, but I guess kind of like this. I mean, if the lion's head went down, then sure, like that. That's where like I just saw brace yourself. I was like, I know I just saw that. It was in the safety card. And I was like, I was like, oof. I have faith that this flight is going to get where we're going with no accidents or incidents or interruptions. But if I had to do that in this seat, I don't know if I'd be able to do it. I have been like doing more yoga recently. I won't say lately because it's been a minute, but I've been doing yoga recently. So I am a little more flexible than I was before. So maybe I could do it, but that's where the brace yourself came from. Anyway, so I'm looking at this and I was like, oh, wait, didn't we just see a symbol like that on the demon? And then I was like, north node, south node, it would make sense, right? Well, if we have these match, if we have the nodes match and we take the square around the circle away, they would be identical, but they're not. Right? One is a downward pointing triangle, one is the upward pointing triangle. So I was like, okay, if they're not the same, then I was like, oh, well, because I know I've seen this before. And I was like, oh, it's on the Quester, the Six of Swords. And so I had already passed the Six of Swords to find the demon. And so I kept going through the cards and I came upon the Magician. And in the Magician, we see the head of this snake. And the Magician has his hand up next to Universal Mercury. Also, we get some Fox, Kitsune-ish type energy, which I love. Also, the Magician came out yesterday, so I was like, okay. Also, I guess if we're talking about the sacred word, which is the element of air, and then we have, no, this is air. That's water, fire, earth, air. Mercury is air, yeah. So we have the sacred word and we have the element of air and Mercury. Also, is Mercury down here? Yeah, the sharpshooter in the dynasty. Mercury in Sagittarius, Mercury in Virgo. Which is interesting in itself because Mercury rules Virgo. So it's at home in one aspect, but it's in a space that is completely unlike itself in another, because Sagittarius opposes Gemini, which may again play into this energy. Where like they're both the same person. It's at home in one aspect and against itself or opposing itself in another, or vice versa, right? Flip it. So anyway, I'm like, okay, I knew it was in the Magician, but I wasn't going to pull it but then I found it. So I was like, okay. And I pulled it because in the Quester is holding Universal Mercury right there. And that's why I was like, oh, I got to pull it, right? And then you see there on the ship, the same brand as the rump on I almost said elephant, as the rump on the lion. Also, Leo opposes Aquarius. This is Mercury in Aquarius. Also, the moon is full. That was the other thing. We go from dying light to the full moon because Universal Mercury, the sacred word, hope being restored. I don't know if I got to that hope being restored point, but it's there. Well, I didn't get to that point because the message evolved, or the message unfolded in a way that was us awakening to our brilliance, us, the spark within us gaining enough pyrokinetic momentum. I can't think of the word. Like the spark is sparking. The spark is getting enough tinder to go from a spark into because sparks are like, but it's like a steady flame. Maybe not a blazing inferno, but to at least go from a spark to a steady flame. But coming back to the strength now, it's almost like it should kind of be this way, but it didn't come out that way. It came out this way. Maybe it's because the sun is rising. It's almost like the wider the mouth of this lion, the more the sun is like rising. And then it's like it hits noon when the ouch is healed. I'm playing God of War Valhalla right now. Spoiler alert, spoiler alert. And I think there's lore from games that I haven't played. Maybe like Ghost of Sparta, because I think that might be like the one game I didn't play. um, but Kratos was talking about when he had to pull Helios's chariot, when he had to pull the chariot of Apollo, because Apollo had been kidnapped by the god of dreams or something like that. And there's been the Akranar Phaeton. Phaeton, through virtue of being the son of Apollo, thought he had what it took to pull the chariot, and he did not. And he was punished because it was either get that man off the chariot or the whole earth is going to freeze or burn. Um, and he got sent to the underworld. He fell into the river Eridanus, and it was an energy of there's something that Phaeton is doing in the underworld that's going to give him the strength that when he makes his return, he'll be able to pull that chariot. And so it's almost like that type of energy ish because of the rising sun in the background. And of course, this falls nicely into the Archangel Commander story, where Archangel Commander didn't like, there was something that we wanted Archangel Commander to resolve. And the Archangel Commander said, I don't have my sword. You have my sword. You take care of it. And you're like, oh, wait, what do you mean you don't have your sword? You're Michael. Michael without a sword is like ketchup without tomatoes. What is that? Vinegar? I don't know how you make ketchup. But it's like orange juice without oranges. You know what I mean? It's like, what do you mean? But Michael, Archangel Commander, convinces you, and so after however gruesome or grueling or not a battle, and we have the Nine of Wands up here, I love it. After however gruesome or grueling a battle, you emerge victorious. You go to return the sword to Archangel Commander Michael, and Michael's like, keep it. And you're like, why would I keep it if it's your sword? And Michael's like, I'm Archangel Michael. I'm the Archangel Commander. Do you really think I wouldn't have a sword? Like my sword? And you're like, that's what I said. And you said that I had it and you didn't have it. And he was like, well, it's April somewhere. It's always April in a timeless way. And you're the fool. And then he's like, that's your sword. And now I can teach you, train you in the ways of sword. Oh, and then we had yesterday with the aces, we had the ace and their ascended master. I guess, and the ace of swords didn't come out yesterday. It was ace of pentacles and the ace of wands. Ace of swords is here today. But we had like the tools and their ascended masters. Archangel Michael would be like the ascended master associated with the sword. So anyway, he teaches us in the way of the sword, and we come into a power of our own in some type of way. And that's this. It's mostly this type energy right here. How the sun rises as, the ouch or whatever is healed, as the lion digs its heels in. There's like, oh, Mercury is retrograde. Okay. I was just like, there's Mercury all over this. Mercury in Sagittarius, Mercury in Virgo, Mercury in Aquarius, Mercury in the Magician. Mercury, Mercury, Mercury. But then I was like, oh, yeah, okay. Mercury is retrograde Capricorn, and it's going to go back into Sagittarius. And then when it goes direct, it's going to re-enter Capricorn. It's that crown games type energy too. Right use of power. And it feels like there's something in this wheel of life that's giving me right use of power. It's giving me like the four quadrants type energy, if you can see it. It's not going to focus, but that's fine. There's like four quadrants. And then from those four quadrants, there's like these 2, 4, 6, 8 phases of the moon from four quadrants to, yeah, they're there. You can't see them, but they're there. From the four quadrants to these 8 phases of the moon to the 12 sign cycle of the zodiac. Hey, now you can see the quadrants. And then, oh my gosh, look, there's universal Mercury. And then there's sulfur, and then there's salt. So that's water, fire, and air. Those are the 3 aces that we saw. The Ace of Wands and the Ace of Pentacles yesterday, and the Ace of Swords today. And when I was mentioning that, I'm like, where's the Ace of Cups? But there's no water here, which is interesting by itself. But I guess if we look at it, the triangle that holds these 3 elements is in this blue circle. So it's like I said, how everything comes from water. Like maybe cardinal water would be first, but it's cardinal fire. God said, let there be light, and then there was light. A sacred word was spoken, and then the universe configured itself in such a way to make it true. Because sacred words cannot fall silent or false or whatever. Also, I didn't catch this. There's a dragon on the cloak of the quester. So it's not quite our 2 snakes of the devil and the magician and the force. It's one snake. It's one snake, but it's also a singular individual. Like it's a minor arcana. It's not even it could be pre something. The majors have both snakes. The minor has only one because, again, going back to permutation 1, we can be as close to the divine as we can get beyond humanly possible. But when it comes to the natural world and beyond, there are certain things that must happen. It won't be power without limitations, as miraculous and as powerful and able to terraform and transform and bring about the unimaginable as it is. There are still limitations. There are still some things that can't be undone, at least by us, right? If the divine wants to do or undo, that's up to the divine. But the divine probably also has such an intimate understanding of the thread of the weavings of the fabric of the universe that it knows what can be done, what can be like undone without the entirety of the tapestry falling apart. But it's like there are certain things that must remain in order for the universe to continue being and to not just blink out of existence because it tore itself apart, right? Like an incursion from Doctor Strange. First in the What If, and then in the Multiverse of Madness. When universes literally go dark and fall apart. Like the dying stars in Doctor Who. Interesting. We still have 3 face down cards for Sagittarius season. Like all of this, there are 4 cards read as 3. The last 2 are read as 1. 4 cards for Sagittarius season. And the only one that revealed itself was the one that came from Scorpio season, because I'm pretty sure this was the first card from Scorpio season, which is interesting in and of itself. So maybe that in a way means that we've retained what we gained from Scorpio season, but what we were supposed to get from Sagittarius is dark. But the moon is here. So again, like, because it's moon in Sagittarius, it's not surprising that it isn't seen, or that it chose to make so much noise by hitting the table and then still being face down. It's like you could have silently and quietly fallen into the darkness. Did you have to make so much noise? You woke the whole house up. You know, sometimes it's better to turn on the light. Because if you're going to run into literally everything, stumbling and fumbling through the dark and wake everybody up, you might as well just turn the light on. But yes, that was, I know it was Amy. It was child Amy. And she was like, there are stars out there. I think that, was the doctor dying? Did the doctor die? Is that what happened? Pretty sure it was Matt Smith. And they were like, stars don't exist. Stars aren't real. I don't remember why the stars were going out, but the stars were going out in Doctor Who on some episode. So I feel like this is where this video ends. If let me stop. I was gonna make a joke about revealing what Sagittarius actually, what came out on the table as something that Sagittarius taught us in an extended video, but I don't have it set up like that over here. And I'm gonna look at the cards, so we might as well look at them together, right? I will say though, with these being face down, we are definitely entering take it as it resonates territory. We're definitely entering the zone where, put your discernment hard hat on, or you may suffer a crown cushion. And I guess a crown cushion being like, how sometimes we kind of sort of just like go along with something rather than like really kind of questioning it or thinking about it. And then maybe in hindsight, it's like, yeah, if I really think about it, like that didn't make sense, right? And I knew it was like a little weird at first, but I just went with it because they were so enthusiastic, passionate. They sounded so knowledgeable. I didn't know anything. I thought it was trustworthy information, blah, blah, blah. It's real, take it as it resonates territory because they're face down. And we're dealing with moon and Sagittarius. Again, there's moon all over this. I love that the last card that I pulled has a full moon here, a full illuminated moon, because these moons feel full, but there's so much of them that we don't see. It's like it is a full moon, but it's a full moon if it looked like a crescent moon. Or maybe it's like a weirdly shaped moon. So like, let's say that the moon wasn't like that, and it was maybe like more ovular, and it was like turning like that, right? And so like there's a side of the moon that catches or reflects more sunlight, but the side of the moon that's tilted away from the sun is like dark. So even though it's like, well, I guess like, is that not how the moon works? Because all of the moon is always there. It's just as it goes around the earth. I don't know if it goes around or around the earth. It faces more or less the sun. Like the moon is always completely there. It's just how much of it do we see? Anyway, it feels like that. Like these are full moons. Like they feel like full. Oh my gosh. How did I not see that? How did I water from the Wheel of Fortune? I was like, oh, that is like, oh wait, that is like this. How there's like the blue circle and then the triangle, and then I was like, wait, that's literally our branded lion. Okay, that's fine. Anyway, Yeah, it's like a fool. This dove is also on the Ace of Cups. There's a dove that descends in the Ace of Cups, and it feels like it's the same dove. I guess the Ace of Cups lies on the other side of the veil. The Ace of Cups is within the domain of the creators. And that's why we only have the three here. Which kind of makes sense because, for the most part, we can't really control our feelings, right? We can, it's fine. We don't have to get into it. There's a way in which it makes sense that the Ace of Cups, that the element of water, that feeling and love and emotion comes before everything. And what we think, what we see or perceive, and then how we operate, what we experience is a reflection or a result of all that is within, like, the space of feeling and emotion or whatever, right? Anyway, there's a context in which it makes sense. Um, but yeah, this is interesting. It's interesting again that nothing from Sagittarius season that we learned in Sagittarius season is here. I had a feeling I would remember what Sagittarius season. I had a feeling I'd remember the reading if I got into it, and now I know why. It's because I'm actually 100% sure. I could be wrong, so maybe I'm 99.9% sure that pugilist moon in Sagittarius was the first thing that Scorpio season brought. And it was a knowing or a feeling of what was to happen in the next season. But it's almost like it didn't happen. What we thought was supposed to happen didn't happen, but it's almost like it actually did. Or the beginnings of it happened. It just hasn't progressed to the point where we would recognize it. We're expecting butterflies and it's still a caterpillar, or we're expecting butterflies and it could be a chrysalis. Because again, well, it's Sagittarius or it's Capricorn season, but something about the rogue, it's like the director calls cut, the light does whatever. Okay, all right. Okay, so are we ready? And the tension is still here. Oh my gosh. The tension is still here at the bottom of the deck, Jupiter and Capricorn. Capricorn season. Now that we're getting into Capricorn season, the actual energies of Capricorn are going to be expanding because, like, oh, we're in it. You know what I mean? Naturally, as we like progress through Capricorn season. So Jupiter and Capricorn love it. Also, we see the sun as mostly obscured, and then we see the moon with its phases. Now, what I love about this, whenever I look at a Two of Pentacles, I look at the balance. This is fairly even, but there's so much tension here that it's like it's fraying the thread. It's fraying the thread between them, but it feels like the thread is unnecessary. Like they're going to be magnetically attracted to each other, or it's forming. Now I'm seeing it as forming. Take it as it resonates. It could be either way. There are ways that it could be one and ways that it could be another. But now I'm seeing it as forming. She's an enzyme. She's enzymatic. She's a catalyst. There you go. Not an enzyme. She's a catalyst. An enzyme is a catalyst. But enzymes are things, it's like let's say that there's something that, like water, right? Let's say that you are dying of thirst because you're thirsty, because it's been drought and dry, and you need water. And there's abundance of oxygen gas and there's an abundance of hydrogen gas, but there's no water. The catalyst brings two things that create something more or different together in such a way that they configure themselves, or such a way that they physically conform to create whatever, right? So like, because it's oxygen gas and hydrogen gas, they're bonded to each other. So this catalyst would separate the bonds between oxygen. They're what, diatomic or something, maybe Hankelbrief diatomic molecules. So they're elements that, in the absence of another element, they will bond to themselves. They'll form little cliques and little groups. But if they're already bonded to each other, they're not free, able, or capable to bond to another. So hydrogen gas naturally is like two hydrogens, oxygen gas naturally two oxygens. Hydrogens are tiny, oxygens are larger. And so the catalyst has to break these bonds apart so that our oxygen can float over here and pick up one hydrogen and then another hydrogen, and then you get your water. But without that force to both separate them from themselves, but put them in with proximity of another, it's something that could be very difficult to form naturally. Now we know that water is abundant, so that's not the best example, but it's simple enough, I feel like, to communicate the point. With the tension, it could be something like catalysts really shine in impossible situations, right? Like, let's say you and your soulmate, you and the person that you're meant to be with, live on two completely different sides of the planet. In what way would you naturally meet? Probably not many, right? And so let's say that something happens and you go to Greece, and then something else happens and they go to Greece, and then you're in the same place at the same time and you meet. Where otherwise, like, you would have no means of interaction or communication. Now, because it's the will of life, life is the catalyst, right? This person is studying in Greece for whatever, and you go on vacation in Greece, and life has seen you two come together. Other times, this is like the director in the back that's calling cut. Cut this tie, move this person into a different energy, vibration, frequency, location. And then now it's like, after it's been separated, she's holding them very, like, she ain't even really touching. She's like very, very loosely, she isn't touching them, but she's just like keeping them from drifting farther apart until they form these bonds on their own. So now it's, so anyway, I'm glad that she's still at the bottom of the deck. Also, again, it's giving me, like, because the sun is rising, it's like she's holding this here until these like mirror and reflect it. So the rising sun is actually like this coming up to match and mirror what the catalyst is intending. You asked for something and a divine word was spoken, and the universe is configuring and aligning itself in a way to make it true. It could take time, it could be instantaneous. I'm not here to, that ain't the purpose of this. Cool. I feel like that's everything. I feel like I didn't necessarily read these as one, but since this is all mutable energy, it's like, I feel like we sort of get the point, right? Here, we get the point. What would this manifest as, though? It's interesting that there's no Gemini on the table. We have Mercury. Every element. So we have Moon and Sagittarius, the cards that are revealed, because Sagittarius season still hasn't revealed what it gave us yet. Moon and Sagittarius, Mercury and Sagittarius. And then we have Mercury in Virgo. We have Venus in Virgo with this Nine of Pentacles over here. We have Saturn in Pisces. But all of the air is fixed. Moon in Aquarius, Mercury in Aquarius. We have Virgo, or we have Gemini, not Gemini, we have Mercury. Mercury rules Gemini, but it's interesting that the air isn't mutable. The air is already fixed. And again, it's so interesting because all of the other elements came out in their mutable modality. There's only, as elements on the table, not planets, there's only Virgo, Pisces, Sagittarius, and Aquarius. Now, Aquarius is the next season. And between these two, there was a Saturn energy. Or not Saturn. Where was it? Because it was like Aquarius and Capricorn. I thought it was Aquarius and Capricorn somewhere. I don't remember. Like Aquarius is the next season. So that could be like a possible explanation why the air is appearing as fixed. But again, like it's interesting that every element given a modality is mutable except for air. Which could be a call back to a few years ago. Was it 2019? Or was it 2020 or was it 2021? It might have been 2021. I think it was 2021 when, because it was 12/21/21, right? Or 21/12/21 when Saturn and Jupiter conjuncted 0 degrees Aquarius. The Christmas star, yeah. But I don't know, it's intriguing to me, Anyway, so let's get into the cards. Oh, I was trying to hold it until I sent that message. Okay. So, welcome to the extended reading that is within the same reading. I kind of do want to separate these out. I'll probably take a picture of the cards and make it the thumbnail again. I don't know why I'm doing that lately, but I feel like it'll be helpful. I should probably link the videos if I post them on the community page, because I feel like it would be helpful. Like if something happens in my life, or if I notice something happening in the world and I'm like, wait, didn't I like read something like this? And I can go to the images and be like, oh my gosh, there it was, if I remember. So I have the 3 cards that came out before I started. I have the 3 cards of the branded lion. I have what I have, so there's 1 card as what Sagittarius season left us, the 3 for the beginning of Capricorn, and the 3 for Capricorn as a whole. And then I moved over to the side the 3 of Sagittarius that are face down. So the first card is, are we going to get some Gemini energy? Oh. Okay. The first card is Apocalypse. Last Judgment. I feel like that would make sense. Why that's face down. Like this is a judgment call that happened and maybe we weren't even aware of it. Also, you see that? Can you see that? That full moon in the back. Oh, look, there's a full moon here. And then there's a sun right there. It's kind of hard to see the sun because of the light that's emanating, but you can see that full moon. So I think you passed, or I think whoever this resonates for, you passed because mirroring the same sun moon energy is the dynasty. We have the sun on the same side and the moon on the same side. It's a full moon up here, it's a crescent moon down here. So we're going to be seeing that we passed. Also, what I love about the dynasty, or what I love about the Ten of Pentacles, specifically in the SKT, is where there is a void in the Kabbalah tree of life, there is life. Something has grown in the void. And we have the sacred word. If the sacred word says grow, it's no longer void. If the sacred word says be, it is no longer empty. So now the void is feeling less like a desolate nothingness and more like a designated zone, an area reserved for something. And when the time comes, then it's populated. It's like a parking space that's really close to whatever, and it's reserved. It's a reserved parking space with no name. It may not even have a sign. It's just like you notice that nobody parks in that parking space. And then you ask somebody, and they're like, yeah, we're not allowed. Like, nobody's allowed to park in that space. And then you're like, why? And they're like, I don't know. Like, since I've been here, no one's parked in it. And before I came, no one's parked in it. And I never thought to question it. It's just like it's off limits for some reason. Or maybe it's something that is subconsciously known. Like, people just subconsciously avoid that parking space. It's because it's reserved. And it may not even be designated as reserved, it's reserved. Until you come into work one day and you see a vehicle there. And you're like, either there's somebody new who did not know not to park there, or the person who it's reserved for showed up. You'll find out when you walk in the building, type of energy. But yeah, last judgment and another like you passed type of energy. It's like it's all the light. Well, okay. First, it's all the light emanating off of it. But I watched Reem's Aries reading. And when she said like there's celestial guardians with the sword of light, it's like you're protected in this transformation. It made me think of a post I saw on Tumblr almost a decade ago that was like the reason why villains don't attack magical girls in their transformation. And it was because of the power of light. It was like that light is strong enough to lift them off of the ground. Regular sunlight, like it has a force. Like when the light beats down on us, there is a force associated with light, but it's so like negligible that we don't even notice it. Right. And that's the sun. So imagine a light strong enough to like if they approach that column of light. That's why they don't attack. Type energy. But anyway, so it's like it can like sort of be used to like praise or punish. I mean, for things of shadow, light chases it out, right? We know that. Your Gemini friend would park in it if needed. Maybe that's what we're waiting for then. Gemini's like, yeah, no, that's dumb. I don't get it. Like, if it doesn't say it's reserved, then we can park there. Like, no one's ever there. I'm in a rush. I'm busy. Okay. So, yeah, I feel like this makes sense. So there was a judgment call that was passed that we aren't even necessarily aware of. It's almost like also it's giving me like a vetting process, background check type energy. Right? Like because there's something that we asked for. And with the dying light, at the beginning, like we ended Scorpio season. We started. Yeah. We ended Scorpio because it came out as like what Scorpio season is leaving us with. We ended Scorpio season so sure that something was about to give, that the wheel of fortune was about to turn, that miracles were just about to start popping up. And we're like, potentially like I knew it was happening. Where is it? Like everything looks the same. right? Maybe the grass is a little greener and the sky is a little bit bluer and you just ain't noticed because you've been so busy staring at the sidewalk in your mind thinking, I'm supposed to be on Mars right now, but I'm still on Earth. I'm like, what? It's like there's a vetting process. Also, maybe there was like some healing to do. Maybe the healing was like light healing. Maybe the healing that was to be done was more like, um, it's like it was more like there were ways for your behaviors, patterns, thoughts, choices, and decisions to like change. Like the healing was like sinking in, settling into your roots, into your foundation. Capricorn, foundations. It's like your soil was bone dry and the healing was the watering. And it's like the water is penetrating the soil and it's soaking it up and it's getting all wet. And now that the soil is saturated, the plants will like go back up, right? Maybe they wilted. Or the seed will like break free because now the environment tells the seed it is time to bloom, blossom, sprout, germinate, grow. It's time to peek your head up. Oh, look, it's time to peek your head up over the surface. Boop. And it's like, whoa, hold up. Don't do it. Stop. Your wish has been granted, like you passed, okay? It's almost like somebody, okay, this is a very obvious metaphor. Not obvious, but very, very metaphoric. It's almost like somebody was like really in need of some money to do something important. And they were to the point where they were like, I'm literally going to have to rob a bank. And they're like sliding the ski mask on. They're getting their bag ready. They're just about to walk out the door. They don't want to do it, but they feel like they have no other choice. And then someone's like, oh, stop, like the check cleared. Like your claim has been processed. Here's the money. Everything is taken care of. You don't have to go rob the bank. And they're like, oh my gosh, thank goodness. Like, I know, like, I felt like I had no other choice, but like my conscience, like, would not have been able to take that hit. It's like almost that type of energy. But again, like, just like a claim, I guess, there was a vetting process. And the last two cards read as one. Oh my gosh, there it is. It's the healer. It's the star. It's more Aquarius. Maybe that's why it's all Aquarius. Maybe that's why the air is all Aquarius. Because again, it's the sacred word. It's that wish being granted. It's no longer mutable. It's no longer up in the air. It's no longer, will this happen? Won't this happen? What's going on? It's like wish granted, seal of approval. And the other card is the Shining Waters, Waves of the Undine, Knight of Cups. And I think all of the knights have wings, but I love this one because it feels like it's descending. Like I said, maybe the water is on the side of the creator. The water is on the other side, and we only have air, water, and fire over here. But it's like this knight has just gotten off of this horse that like came from this world of water. It's like this interdimensional energy through this wormhole from this like great distance in the back where the moon and the temples and stuff are. Also, there is by this moon, there's like another temple. So it's like all from the far shores. This Knight of Cups arrives carrying the water from the other side. Like this is the emissary of this lady that's like after it actually came out like this. Like you've been approved. It's just like maybe it took some time. Which is interesting because that was also yesterday when the magician came out in section 2. And it was like, what, 34,600,000. And we were like, years, days. Oh my gosh. And it was like seconds. It's going to be like a year. Calm down. There's something about it's almost like it's very like divine timing, but it's almost when it comes to the actual divine, everything at its time in its season for a reason. But this facsimile, if that's the word I want, I think it is, this facsimile of the divine, it's like there's someone on the other side who struggles to like, because time works so differently, right? It's like if you have a friend that lives on the other side of the world and you don't know their exact time zone, you're just like, when I wake up, they're going to bed. And when I'm at work, they're waking up. And I'm up early today, so I don't know if they're asleep or awake. Like, I can't remember what the difference in time is. So I'm going to give them a call and hope for the best. It's almost like there's someone, something, someone who just like is bad at accounting for the difference in time. And so it's almost like while they thought that they were like right on track, it's like, girl, you already ready to like rob a bank. And then like, oh my gosh, I'm I'm glad I got here. I'm glad I showed up when I did. They peeked their head up over the horizon. It's like it comes through just when you need it. Just in time for Christmas, it comes through. Maybe that's what I'll title this. Capricorn season. Just in time for Christmas. It comes through. And I feel like this also explains again, it's almost like this explains why Sagittarius season is dark. Like this explains why all these cards were face down, because it was all of this vetting and thought and consideration and planning on the other side that like we weren't necessarily privy to. But again, it's like that plays on the magician from yesterday. Your intuition is that tool that lets you know when the divine is moving. Those who trust and those who believe and those of powerful faith, they wait different. Type energy again. It's like you wait different when you know that the divine is going to come through. Like things may get dicey, things may get stressful, but you're not going to like, you're not going to be as quick to resign yourself to robbing a bank because you know they're going to come through. You may go hungry a few days and you may almost let things get like real bad. You are probably going to get way, way, way close to your breaking point of like, okay, like something has to give, something has to give. Like, I know you coming through. So like, is today going to be the day? Because please, Christmas is in a few days and I already made the reservation. I just need the money to hit my account. And then it's like you're getting dressed up, you're going, you're acting like you may be sweating a little bit, you know, under the collar. But again, it's your faith that keeps you getting prepared, or it keeps you ready. You're going, you're operating, you're doing the things. You go all the way to the point where you swipe your card and you don't know if it's about to decline or not because you're checking your phone, you're checking your bank statement to see if it updates. And you're like, the person is like, ma'am or sir, like, and you're like, okay. And you go to swipe it and you do that. And you're almost like expecting the, do you have another card? And then it clears, it goes through. And you're like, oh my gosh, the money hit. Thank you for saving the embarrassment. Not that I would be ashamed, not that I would be embarrassed because my situation is what my situation is. But I'm glad I didn't have to experience that. You know what I mean? Type energy. So you wait different type energy. And also, like, it also makes sense because it's last judgment. Again, if we're talking about Christmas, it's like it's that last check of the list because, you know, like actually preparing for the sleigh ride is so intense that the actual last check happens before. It's like they push it as close to Christmas as they can, before they really have to start like packing the bags and the sleigh and getting the reindeer ready and stuff like that. So the final check actually happens a little bit before, like that's why it cuts it so close to type energy. So also there's this, I feel like it again, it goes back to this energy. It goes to the energy of this catalyst that is loosely holding things in place until they can sever whatever ties they need and make whatever connections they need. But it's already here. It's already done. It's already accounted for. This is that divine. This is the divine timing that's right on time. This isn't necessarily this like, hold up, we got the timing off a little bit. Sorry, I forgot that like a second up here is like 1,000 years down there type energy. This is like, because again, there's these bigger things, these larger forces in the background that are like more slowly moving and shifting. Because if the sun and the moon were to zip across the sky in a second, it would probably spell catastrophe for Earth. The balance is so sturdy and hardy yet delicate that you can't just be, albeit for a different reason, but it's happened once already. We're not trying to do that again. So that's why patience is asked for. You weren't forgotten or abandoned or neglected. Take it if it resonates, of course, right? Because while this is feeling very much so like the message, like in Capricorn season, again, there is a vetting process here. There was a judgment made, not by me, not by man. It's like, for what you ask, it's almost like, do you have the equity? I don't know nothing about nothing. But it's like, do you have the equity to meet the demands of what you're asking for? Like, are you asking for a disbursement way above your means to like compensate for, or like, do you have enough collateral to offer for the size of the disbursement that you're asking type energy? And if we're not talking finances, like let's say that you're manifesting, let's go back to wealth. You're manifesting extreme wealth. It's like, okay, you want money. Money is easy. The divine can do money, no problem. Overnight success, it happens. This thing that you did a long time ago, like somebody can discover it and then boom, like you already put in the work, it's already done. You don't have to do anything else. It circulates on its own. And then you're getting a call from somebody that's like, hey, like, we're ready to take your idea to market. Are you in? And you're like, whoa, like that thing that I did 50 years ago. And they're like, yeah, we love it. And we believe that it's like not only like needed, but also necessary. So are you in or are you in? And you're like, I'm in. But also it goes back to like absolute power corrupts absolutely. It goes back to opportunity makes a thief. It's like, is your character strong enough, sound enough to properly handle and manage the size of money, of wealth, of abundance that you're asking for? Is you getting abundance going to lead to further decay and destruction because you're going to mismanage it? And they're going to treat a whole bunch of people like crap. And then you're going to end up in a situation worse off than when you started type energy. Like there are many different reasons, many different factors involved in this last judgment, which is why the magician from yesterday was like, hold the line, remain in integrity. Just when you think that the moon and the Hierophant and the world is going to win, it turns out in your favor. And it's interesting because both the Seven of Swords and the Eight of Cups were there yesterday. And these are both the third card. The first is the Sharpshooter and the Wheel of Life. The second is the Dynasty and the Force. And then we have in that third position the Seven of Swords and the Eight of Cups. But it was the Seven of Wands and the Eight of Cups. And then the Seven of Swords took it because the Four of Pentacles was over there, that which was withheld. with that moon. But anyway, this is the reason why all of the air is Aquarius. It's the star, it's the wish granted. And also, we have the healer. The star is the healer in this deck, and we have that heal the ouch in this Leo Aquarius opposition. Also, this star is giving me this energy. Almost. But it's the star, so it's different. Like something about this inside the star and this. But also, we see on the sacred word, it's like this type of energy there. Hey Tia, how you doing today? Tia, right? Whew, okay. Maybe I won't do a picture this time. Then I'm going to put these back and we're going to get a final shuffle. And then I'm going to go to the restroom. I'm going to go to the restroom. And then I'm going to go to the restroom. Because I got to go to the restroom. Obviously, duh. And I don't have OBS. I didn't use OBS today. So I can just black out the video and then go to the bathroom and then come back. And this isn't like when I was at my old place where I could just like slide off to the side, you know. I would have to walk back to that door. And I had one instance that scarred me for life. Scarred me, not for life. And scarred is a bit extreme, but I had to trim that video. My booty crack was out. I got up and it was like crack. I'm like, oof, we gotta trim that. Can't have that up on the internet for free. I don't think so. Subscribe. I'm just kidding. What's up? Today it's a good day. It's a good day. It's a great day. Yes. Maybe I feel like, Rob came in yesterday and was like, how's it going, Patty? And at first I was like, but it really did. It gave me perspective. Because like I said, there were some things that I was concerned with the end of the year, being my trip to London and my trip next month, and everything worked out. I thought I had a setback. I thought that something might have been in jeopardy because of life like a month or 2 months ago. But again, everything ended up working out. So no complaints. I am very well cared for. So yeah, I'm doing well. I am doing well. How art thou? Whew. Okay, let's take this picture. Maybe. Let's see what that one look like. Oof, that was not a good picture. That was not led. We might just use this one. Even though this one doesn't seem all too much better. There we go. We'll use this one. That one is good enough. Thank you. Thank you. I'm going to India. I'm going to be in India next month for my best friend's wedding. It'll be my first time visiting India. It'll be the second foreign country that I visit. I am excited. Yeah, I know, right? I am stoked beyond belief. And I bought my tickets later than I would have planned, and I was like, oh my gosh, the prices are going to be. If I got to make sacrifices to go to my best friend's wedding, I am going to be there. you know. But fortunately, it was like the Saturday I was there, I think. So before my last day there, um, it was very tense and almost emotional. How like I found a good flight and then I was trying to book, and they're like, it's full. And I'm like, well, refresh the website. Let me know what flights I can take, please. But then I ended up booking, and it ended up being a lot more reasonable than I thought it would be. So thank you. Right? I'm excited. I am very stoked. Ooh, hold up. Okay. We're going to do this final card a little differently. Believe it or not. And I'm going to timestamp this. And I'm going to timestamp this. And I'm going to timestamp this. I got to timestamp it now. What did I say this was called? Right in Time for Christmas. For the holidays. For the holy days. There we go. I love being live on my desktop because I can see the time when I'm making a timestamp. Love it. Reading, we'll say 0000. Final cards 1, 34, 35. Because just as I talk about loving it, it does that freaking time thing. So, anyway, there are 4 different messages. What? Really? I didn't know that. I probably need to get my visa now then, just in case. Okay. So a card flipped over when I was shuffling, and I was like, am I going to take this? I don't know if I'm going to take this. And then I read Inspire the Prodigy, and I was like, I'm taking this. So we have our Herald of the Waters, and it feels like there's a crack in the sky. Speaking of Christmas, wasn't there a Christmas town, Doctor Who? And there was a crack in the sky, and it was because the doctor was in his last regeneration. And then, like, the Time Lords poured more regeneration juice through the crack to give him more generations or something. That was with Clara? Yeah. Woo! Just in time for the Holydays. Hey. Oh, okay. Oof. It's giving me like crack in the sky type energy. And then it was Inspire the Prodigy. And because there was the message of it's getting you to come into your own light rather than being a reflection of another. And that's another reason why that vetting process, that last judgment call is so important, right? Because there's a difference. It's almost like metaphorically, let's say that you are renting a unit, and part of your rental agreement is that um, because the property belongs to another person, it is imperative that the lights stay on. And so the landlord, it's like they pay the electric bill, but then you pay them. It's one of those where like it's included in your rent, but it isn't. It's not. but like they pay the electric and then you pay them what you use, and they pay it to make sure that the lights stay on. Because if you miss a payment, like it's more important that the facility retains power than it is that they get their money. Because again, it's like if it loses power, it's going to be more damaging and catastrophic. So regardless, they will make sure that it's paid. And if you don't pay them, then they can come for their money, but the facility will still be fine, right? But it's almost like it's like now it's like you've established such a good payment history, and maybe they upcharge electric because like they do. They upcharge electric because they pay it. But maybe you establish such a good payment history that they're like, okay, like you're going to be here for a while, or you're going to be here for long enough. You have proven yourself to be timely enough that like we're going to put the electric in your name. It's going to be more affordable because now there aren't these extra fees that you can't contest for us paying it type of energy. It's like it's that kind of vetting, like you can be trusted for us to like turn your light on. So rather than you being a mirror reflection of another light, your light comes on type energy. And like there are ways that we can bring like that's kind of sort of like how we get to that point, right? It's like your light has been on for whatever enough. Your light has been divine enough that we're going to increase your luminosity. And with an increase in luminosity, it gives your word power that it may not have necessarily had before, because your word travels farther. Because your light is brighter, it shines into darker corners. It illuminates the cogs. It illuminates the machinery in the back. And now that you can see the machinery in the back, we have to teach you how to use it so that you don't accidentally destroy something. But, again, with Michael teaching you in the sword type energy, you using your sword was you coming into your light. That was your awakening brilliance. Awaken the Brilliance was the herald of the flame, the one that came out with the sacred word, Ace of Swords. Now inspire the prodigy. So instead of getting one card that is the message, I split the deck into 4 piles. So now I'm going to, I guess, timestamp these. And I'm just going to say first is 1:41:20. I'm like, oh, it's so convenient that I get to see the live timer as I'm doing my timestamps, but the timer is freezing. So this is your reminder that timestamps on this channel, provided by me especially, are approximations, okay? Sometimes I go and I tighten them up. Sometimes I don't. If I'm already in it, so it's fine. This one should be fairly close. You could probably skip forward a few seconds because I'm still rambling, but by this time you might as well just keep watching. So thank you. Time is relative, especially over here. The first message is the gardener. 7 of Orbs. I would say, honestly, probably just go and watch Permutation 1. I titled it Peter Parker, Spider-Man, and Life's Inevitable Gwen Stacy's, because the Gardener came out after the Archangel Commander. It was 5, Archangel Commander 7. It was the Hector. I believe it was the Hector 5 of Swords, and it was a hypervigilance. And then there was a balancing out, and then there was a cultivation of something moving forward. But if I had to read this as is, I would say this is very much like you're on the right track energy. just keep doing what you're doing and just keep going, because it's like you planted good seeds, you are tending them well, you tilled the soil, you aerated it, you set up your irrigation. If the water situation is iffy, like, you are well on your way. Just keep nurturing yourself and keep nurturing that which you feel is for you to nurture. And there's also like it is your kindness of heart that has really caught the attention of the divine in some way. So you would be the prodigy of like a deity associated with growth and like harvest, cultivation, but also like kindness and generosity. Like, not just the harvest, but the harvest that is shared with the community. It's like the harvest as a whole, from the cultivation of the crops to the party at the end of the year to celebrate a season well, whatever, right? Um, Also, I feel like it could be because it's the herald of water, and because yours is an earth energy. It feels like there could be support that comes in for something that you've been working on in a way that is like really, really, really beneficial. It's like, this is top tier water. This ain't tap water from one of those places where the water is still iffy and questionable. This is like good water. This is like miracle water that can make anything grow. And so I guess in a way, stay grounded. Um, Also, it's like, know that all of the work and the preparation that you've done will see you successfully through. So because it feels like there's a potential for things to just so almost immediately pop up. Like, let's say that you were expecting harvest in a month and you've been stocking up your resources, maybe financially, to hire people to help you, but overnight everything just like is ready, and you're like, oh my gosh. You're like, oh my gosh, I wasn't like, I thought like this is now. You just have to send out a round of calls to ask who can start sooner because it's ready. And you may be surprised to find out everyone can start because, folks were waiting on you, kind of. But again, it's just like, know that everything that you've done to get to this point, it's like it will serve you. So even if things like are a little overwhelming because of the magnitude, or because like now it's real life and not just something that you are hoping for or planning for, it's more than just a dream. It can be easy to get a little overwhelmed and feel that we don't know what to do. But Seven of Pentacles, like, you prepared yourself well. Trust it. Next is the second. Second is we're going to call it 146.55. So if you chose the second of these, or just two, when I said that this was going to be 4 piles, let's see. Your card is the Eminence. If I could recommend you a reading, it would be this one, because this is the one that started us off today. Not that that necessarily matters. This feels like an invitation to go somewhere. So I don't know if like you've been applying for jobs or something like that. Because the first pile, it was a little bit more like something finding you, or something sprouting where you are and being built sort of there. This is almost more like you're going to be going somewhere where things are already like established, where there's already an order. And so there's almost an energy of like, it would be like Fortune 500 companies, celebrity. Like there's a lot of, I don't want to say well established. It's something that's well established, but it feels like it also has like a positive reputation or something like that. Like you could have been recognized and scouted for something, and it feels like again it's going to be a great fit. You have like authentically, especially if it's in a realm of authenticity. Um, it's like, so I'm watching Ugly Betty on Netflix, but I already finished Glamorous. And there are things from Ugly, like I watched Glamorous first, and then I watched Ugly Betty, and Ugly Betty aired like a while ago. But it's like in Glamorous, Marco was already into like makeup and fashion and stuff. And so when Marco got a job in the beauty industry, it was a dream come true. Betty was looking for to get a job in an established like publication, whatever, but she wasn't into fashion. And she ended up at the fashion magazine for reasons that the father had, right? And so it's like instead of it being a more ugly Betty where eventually like she finds her way and she finds her space, it feels more like Marco and Glamorous, where it's like it's a more natural fit, a more immediate, and it's like you fit right in type energy. There is also like a hand of providence that guides your life, girl, because of this lady up here. And it also feels like this could be because of the feeling of community in this Nine of Cups, even though it's not Nine of Pentacles, even though it's not like a ton of people, it could also be something in like related to like service. Definitely could be related to your purpose with the hand of providence that guides your life. Um, or it's just like it's something fulfilling. It's work that means something. And because you are the inspired prodigy, it's like, let's say that, like, you could be someone who is very tech savvy or someone who is very cultured, like worldly, someone who is very, like, who has a high intercultural competency, or someone who's really good at like making things happen. And it's like, for example, like this would be someone who goes to work for a nonprofit, but you're really good at executing. And so you bring a lot. It's like you help that nonprofit take its ability to accomplish its mission to a whole new level. Like for the tech savvy one, like let's say that there's a company that's a little bit older and they're looking to modernize or keep up with the times to keep moving forward into the future. And it's your tech savviness that would enable them to do that. Um, for the one that's able to execute, again, it's like you go into a place that has like resources, but maybe they're lacking more on the executing side of things. It's like what you have, it's more than needed. It's like what you have is needed, and like you will really take that somewhere. And again, it feels like it's something fulfilling at the very least. It may not be like, community work or charity work or humanitarian, but for you, it feels like it would be fulfilling. And honestly, yeah, the hand of providence guides your life. But that's the kind of prodigy you would be because it's inspire the prodigy, right? You would be like the SME, the subject matter expert in a way. And it's feeling like you would be like, because it's the Nine of Pentacles, nicely compensated. Not to say that there won't be times where you may feel like it's a lot of work, because again, you would be like the subject matter expert. You would be the person with the knowledge, experience, or expertise. And it feels like there's a void that you would be filling, but it feels like the compensation is nice. There's like, again, some kind of fulfillment or some kind of validation there that would help it overall maybe be a little less overwhelming than if all of that were required of you and you weren't fairly compensated and you weren't appreciated. Right. Cool. Take them if they resonate. If they don't take them. Third is 154. Oh. So if you chose number 3, when I said I'm going to do 4 of these, then this is for you. The third card is, the High Priestess, Sanctuary of Isis. Honestly, it's the High Priestess. Her book is closed. Inspire the Prodigy, High Priestess. Like right before I flipped her card over, I was like, there have been 2 Earth ones already. It's like, it would be so interesting if all of these were Earth. Again, water nourishes the Earth, but then you get the High Priestess. Because I see the High Priestess, I'm very much so like, whatever you're going through, you're going through. This is not territory for Patrick to even dare try to find. Like, Patrick would not set foot into the sanctuary of Isis unless Patrick was personally invited by Isis. Because Patrick ain't trying to be one of those vaporized in a pillar of light. You know what I mean? I think there's something about scale here. You are being welcomed by giants. And I say there's something about scale because of the camel. Compared to the camel, the pomegranate is huge. The woman is beyond gigantic. The pillars, even larger than her. The moon, like everything is so big here. The book is as big as the camel, if not bigger. Also, we get some Merkabic energy because of the star that's on her book or on the scroll. She's got like scrolls and a pamphlet. And then it's like there's a little, I don't know if it's a statuette of Isis on top of her head or if that's like Isis on top of her head. And that's just like, this is the maiden or the priestess of Isis, and there's Isis. Yeah, this is beyond that. I feel like I don't have anything for you. Whatever your intuition is telling you, like follow up on it. I would say if there's like something that you are like being guided to work on or work towards, this could be you getting into your ancestry. This could be you doing so many things. It also feels like it could be an apprenticeship type energy, like working closely with or working under a master or working under someone who worked under a master. It's like your degrees of separation from a master, be it a master craftsman, a master speaker or orator, a master in your profession, or an ascended master, goddess, god, deity, whoever. It's like your degrees of separation are getting like real low, right? If not 1, 2, maybe 3. But so yeah, I guess this crack in the sky, you heard the voice of God through a crack in your wall. You heard the voice of God. And who is Patrick to tell you anything? So we're going to move on to the 4th one. I wish you all the best. That's all I have for you. You don't need me. You may not need many of the things that make you comfortable. Like if you are comfortable with a lot of validation, you may be getting less validation because you are on a path that is formless or that has not yet been tread. Your intuition and discernment is going to be your best source of validation. It is very much so uncharted territory type energy. Like, even if it isn't uncharted territory, like it could be the realm of things forgotten, right? So, like, let's say that you all of a sudden, or maybe your whole life, you get into herbology and you get into herbs and the different purposes of herbs and combinations and the formulations of tinctures. And let's say that I know that there are places where the power and the medicinalness, where the knowledge of the herbs is still alive and well. So maybe like you're gonna go somewhere where that knowledge is still alive and you're gonna learn. But it's just an energy. It's like something that is unknown to your surroundings, but may not necessarily be like brand new. To me, it's given me more like something forgotten, something that is not currently practiced unless it's remote and almost intentionally hidden type energy. I was at the gym yesterday and I didn't see Star Wars, but I saw, I think, the beginning of Wonder Woman, and I was like reading the subtitles, and it was basically when Diana's mom, I don't even know who she was to Diana, when some older lady was telling young Diana that like there how and why the island had to be hidden from Ares, the god of war type energy. Like it's something that's hidden for a purpose, and you are discovering it. You are going beyond the gates, crossing the threshold of the veil. This is an invitation to go beyond anything that I could potentially tell you. So I got you 2 more minutes. 2:25. Let's go 2:25. Okay, so if you chose the fourth and final pile, then the card that you get is the Pugilist. Again, if I were to recommend a video to you, it would be this one. Or actually, it could be this one or the last one. I think the energy of the Nine of Wands has actually come up. I'm not going to recommend you a video, but today it was Scorpio season. Scorpio season concluded with us, according to the cards, knowing, feeling, trusting something that is to come. And it came out again today. It was all that came out today. So maybe your Sagittarius season was perfecting what you learned in Scorpio. Maybe also your Sagittarius is still revealing. Maybe your Sagittarius has already been revealed. Maybe it's almost like you were privy to conversations that collectively we weren't. Maybe you know exactly. And again, maybe it's that crack in the sky that let you know, like, okay, we're going to be like discussing this. We're going to be deliberating on this. And your evaluation, like, this is what we're considering right now. Type of energy. Hey, Russ, how you doing? See, that's why I was like, I'm going to respect it and not even try to scramble my brain. I see High Priestess. I see Inspire the Prodigy. I see Beyond Patrick. I respect it. I got to go back to work next week. I need my brain functional. I'm kidding. But yeah, for the fourth, it's like maybe, and again, maybe it wasn't necessarily so extreme. Maybe it was subtleties. Maybe you are in touch and in tune with, um, it's like the things that the divine ask of you. Like maybe there were things that you've already healed, and maybe there were things that you already learned. And maybe Sagittarius season gave you opportunity to put that learning into practice. And so when you encounter a situation, Because again, there was something about there being a vetting process or an evaluation in Sagittarius season. But this is back from Scorpio. So maybe you had all your scorpionic whatever, and Sagittarius was like, oh, I'm being asked this. Okay, let me do this. Oh, this is coming up. Oh, I know this. This is easy. Let me do that. And you've just been like doing in order, order, um, everything that you needed to. But again, that's like there's something about your awareness maybe that clued you into what was happening. You can see, whereas in the collective, it was this like maybe some have lost hope because again, it came out of Scorpio season so sure. Maybe you're still certain. Maybe you're even more certain. You have what? Moon and Sagittarius. Sagittarius ruled by Jupiter. So it's like you're tuned into these subtle ways that things are like expanding further and further and further. You have a sight that exists beyond your current situation, circumstances, and surroundings. Or you have a capacity to see beyond your present moment. And it doesn't take you out of the present moment, but you have a capacity to see further. And it's because of that, that again, it's like you can see things almost like lining up in a way that validates instead of confuses. Now, because the pugilist is a fighter, you could be the prodigy of someone who kicks butt and takes names. And maybe you're going to be the next Mike Tyson or Rocky Balboa, Jean-Claude Van Damme. Is that my mother? Oh, no. You are not my mother. Oh, I almost thought it said 1111. I was like, is that my mom? Is that my number one fan? Excuse me. Also, this was like a Hecate energy, wasn't it? And the crossroads. You could be like really good. Maybe it's like your sight, your ability to see beyond yourself and beyond your current circumstances that makes you like a really good decision maker. And I say a really good decision maker because the crossroads are here. It's like because the second one was like there's a hand of providence that was guiding the second. But for you, it almost feels more self guided because you are so in touch and in tune and aligned, not only with the divine, but also with the will of the universe, girl. And again, it's like that's why it feels like you would be really good at making decisions, or you would be really good at navigating crossroads because it's like you're always tuned in type energy. So like you don't have to stop what you're doing, take yourself out of the situation, seek the divine, spend time up here, and then come back sometime later. It's like since there's this constant line of communication, it's almost like it's always happening in real time. And again, when the crossroads come up, even if the road leads you to the deep dark forest that's sunny and beautiful on the other side of it, you go through whatever you need. And it doesn't like it's a context and it's a trust that provides a certain level of clarity maybe, and it provides a certain level of security, but it doesn't mean that there aren't any difficulties or challenges or hardships in life. Like you don't necessarily get off easy. Maybe you get off easier than if you didn't know and if you were just like blind and feeling like, why is all of this happening? And maybe there are points and times where you don't see because it's not for you to see. because it's for you to grow beyond your capacity, for you to expand your container, for you to fill your vessel and to allow your vessel to deepen and widen. And in those moments, darkness may be necessary. It may be important for you to not know. But you emerge still on path. Even when you didn't see, even when you couldn't see, even when you didn't know, even in the depths of darkness and despair, you were still expertly navigating those crossroads. So I guess you'd almost be like a prodigy of fate, if that makes sense. But it's beyond fate. You would be so prodigious. I'm thinking of, like, I keep saying prodigy, and I'm reminded of Izzy from Digimon, prodigious. And then prestidigitation from Aquila and the Bee. And I think prestidigitation is a spell in D&D that lets you produce some kind of phenomena. Let's see. Let's look it up. Ooh, I got my keyboard so I can type it on my computer. Prestidigitation. Magic tricks performed as entertainment. This spell is a minor magical trick that novice spellcasters use for practice. You create one of the following magical effects within range. This is the spell according to D&D Beyond. It's a cantrip. It costs one action. It belongs to the School of Transmutation. The duration, it lasts for an hour. It has a 10-foot range area. And there is a verbal and another component. I don't remember what the S stands for. This spell is a minor magical trick that novice spellcasters use for practice. You create one of the following magical effects within range. You can create an instantaneous, harmless sensory effect, such as a shower of sparkles, a puff of wind, faint musical notes, or an odd odor. You can instantaneously light or snuff out a candle, a torch, or a small campfire. You instantaneously clean or soil an object no larger than 1 cubic foot. You chill, warm, or flavor up to 1 cubic foot of non living material for 1 hour. You make a color, a small mark, or a symbol appear on an object or a surface for 1 hour. 6, that's a 6. Or you can create a non magical trinket or an illusory image that can fit in your hand and that lasts until the end of your next turn. If this spell is cast multiple times, you can have up to 3 of its non-instantaneous effects active at a time, and you can dismiss such an effect as an action. That is prestidigitation. Bards, sorcerers, warlocks, wizards, and artificers can learn it, again, according to D&D Beyond. So, there you go. But I love that it said that it's a novice spell. A minor magical trick that novice spellcasters use for practice. Uh, so it's like for practice, because with prestidigitation, besides the flavor, I think flavoring, chilling, and warming. So there are some of these that don't really like do anything, or they're non-permanent, right? You can chill, warm, or flavor up to 1 cubic foot of non-living material for an hour. You can mark, make a symbol appear on something for an hour. You can create a non-magical trinket or image that can fit in your hand that lasts until your next turn. Like, a lot of this is non-permanent and permanent. You create an instantaneous, harmless sensory effect, such as a shower of sparks, a puff of wind, faint musical notes, or an odor. That one. And then you can instantaneously light or snuff out a candle, torch, or small campfire. Like, lighting or snuffing out something that can be lit is more, I guess it's not permanent, because campfires, torches, and candles don't burn forever either. But anyway, it's almost like you can do all of these maybe non-permanent sort of things, but your prodigy invitation is almost could be to um, do something more, to like up the scale. So instead of something lasting for a day or an hour or for a little bit, maybe it'll last for a week, a year, a month, until you undo it. And so it's almost like there's this mutability. It plays on the mutability of Sagittarius, but also on the higher thinking philosophy and theology of Sagittarius, where it's almost like it deepens your understanding of the universe. So for four is almost like the fourth is almost like the third, but with the fourth, it feels like the third was an invitation, was the beginnings to go beyond. But with the fourth, it's like you're the novice spellcaster. You're already in your apprenticeship. So instead of this being like maybe some unknown goddess force, like maybe you know exactly who and exactly what, and you've been working through your curriculum. And it's like you're getting the basics. And again, this plays into your ability to be in tune with the divine and to navigate crossroads. It's because when you learn something, you learn it in a way that illuminates the world, right? So you wouldn't be the person who learns the material just to take the test and to pass the test. And then after the test, you forget it, which is, again, it feels like that it's also playing up on that recollection from Scorpio season, because where this card first appeared. Like what you learned in Scorpio season, you're using. You used well into Sagittarius season. It has become a part of the fiber of your being. And as you learn these seemingly insignificant party tricks, it actually teaches you something significant about magic. It teaches you something significant about yourself, and it teaches you something significant about the way that you use all of you, including the intuitive, but also including the 3D material parts of you to navigate the world. But beyond that, again, it's like it teaches you something about the world itself. I can't remember if it was the second or the third that had it's like your radiance is getting like brighter. And so you're seeing into the corners that were dark and you're starting to see the mechanisms. It's like you've kind of been tinkering. Like you didn't even necessarily have to tinker because you're so present and so in touch and so in tune with what you do. You come to these greater, grander insights. Like you would be the person that is the natural master. You would be the one who lives life and comes to the truth of the universe. You didn't need a teacher. You didn't need a guru. You didn't need a guide. You didn't need anything but you, all of you, the life you were living, and in touch and tuneness, maybe direct line of communication with the divine. And you got it. So it's almost low key giving like new Hecate energy. Like you wouldn't even necessarily have to be approached by Hecate or any other goddess. Like you would just get it. I guess you would be like the prodigy. And I think I mentioned presence. Like you can see beyond the present moment and it doesn't take you out of the present. You can be both present and aware of everything. And for a lot of us, like if we focus too hard on the future or if we get stuck too much in the rerunning things of the past, that pulls us out of the present moment. But you have an ability to stay present and grounded, but also consider everything. So more so than the prodigy of fate, it's like you are the prodigy of the design of the universe, including fate, including time, including literally anything that exists and governs the universe. And again, it's like it's because you pay attention. It's because you're in tune. It's because you just take everything deeper. Like you would be the epitome of that Jupiterian expansion. You would be the epitome of higher levels of thinking, philosophy, theology, all of that. Now, I'm not going to say this is the energy where, like, maybe after you're done with this incarnation or the next few incarnations, the divine may give you your own universe to create. But if I was watching a movie or playing a game and that was a part of the buildings of that universe, I wouldn't be surprised. You would be the one that's like, you cracked the code. Congratulations, girl. but you would be the one that would want to architect your own world. Potentially. Take it if it resonates as it resonates. Those were a lot of final cards, but that's fine. I'm just going to flip these over because these are already in the middle, and I'm just going to put this one on top. And the bottom of the bottom of the bottom of the deck is the Shining Waters, which makes sense. There she is again. The Shining Waters for that Herald of the Waters. Boom, boom, boom. So, thank you all for being here. I hope you all have an amazing whenever you see this. If you're not, I hope you have a much better one relatively soon. I hope you're acting in alignment to make all that you wish to experience your reality. I hope that whatever you need along your path, journey, and way you find. And I hope that wherever your life, wherever your path takes you, you've the courage, the resources, the anything you need to follow. Especially in navigating times of drastic change for the better, right? Like when the wheel of life, when the wheel of fortune turns to see you move forward momentously. Is that momentous? With great momentum, but also like momentous in terms of scale, but also like with great momentum. When it comes time for you to be launched, I hope you the wherewithal to brace yourself and go with the process. It's almost like people in the rocket ship when you're reaching terminal velocity before you break out of the atmosphere, and it's like, but once you break out of the atmosphere, it's like this free floating whatever you need. I hope you get it. I hope you get where you're going. And I hope, more than I hope you get what you deserve, I hope you deserve what you're getting, I guess. Bye.